Welcome to another Motortone video. Today we are going to do something a bit different. You may have already noticed that some of the stuff doesn't really look how you might remember it, with all the stuff in the background here and the fact that I only have 3 inventory slots. It gets even more drastic if we look down south. I mean, looking at the map here, I think there's something big supposed to be here, but it's just really ocean. So what's going on? I'm of course not on the current version of the game. This is the last Unreal Engine 4 version. Still preserved through the beta branches, likely meant for people who cannot play on the Unreal Engine 5 version due to either performance or compatibility issues. But yeah, I'm back here on this old one, which is over 2 years old at this point. Long before I started making videos on the game, but a few months after I started playing. So this is still somewhat close to the version with which I got my initial impressions of the game. And I just wanted to go back today, take you guys along for the ride, not for a nostalgia trip, mind you, but just trying to figure out a few things. First up, this is going to be a little bit of a critique on the current version. Not because I think that this one is better in any way. I mean, all the updates that we've gotten are amazing. They expanded the game so much, added a lot of good stuff. The one thing I will say though, and this is something that I want to put to the test today, I always had the feeling that the old version was a bit better balanced with the kinds of content it offered. Again, the additions are all great, but they have been very lopsided towards trucking. And my first impression from the game back in the day was a very different one. It was really more of a variety game than being so much on focused on trucking. So today I want to check out what's available in the old version and then compare and contrast with what stuff we've gotten over the past 2 years to get to the current one. And I also want to do something very specific later down the line today, testing out comfort fares with taxi and limo, because I still remember that those used to be a lot more fun and a lot less stingy when it comes to breaking comfort. Partially to do with this version having much less grip on the tires. It's not amazing. The newer one definitely plays a lot better, but yeah, breaking grip before you break comfort points actually used to be very helpful, and I want to see if this is really better than the new one, and we are going to do that in a bit. But I think first it's time to check out what's available here, and to start out with, we are going to drive over to the dealership. The thing is, Motortown is kind of special in a way, I mean in a few ways really, but one thing that I always appreciated is that it doesn't just focus on one particular type of vehicle. I mean, we have truck sim, we have bus sim, we have plenty of racing games focused on regular cars. This is one of a few games that does basically everything, and unlike games like GTA where you also get a large variety of vehicles, with this one buses aren't background vehicles. The same goes for trucks, tow trucks, semi-tractors, that kind of thing. They are all functional, all usable and all useful, so that's amazing. But it also comes with a lot of balancing. You have a really wide array of vehicles, and I think for the game to keep its charm and keep its balance, you kind of need to expand everything somewhat in a similar vein, and I want to check out what happened in that regard. So to start out with, this might look really dire when it comes to the vehicles here, because we are used to there being like 2 rows of cars by now. And it's also maybe a bit weird that we can buy a 300k supercar on a dirt lot. Same with this one right here, it's just I mean, the other dealership is also in this game. It also sells the same cars, but having these available on the cheaper car dealership dirt lot here, it's a bit weird. But yeah, from just looking at this, you might be a bit surprised that, or you might not be surprised after all, with this being 2 years older, that a lot of vehicles that we know in the current version aren't available here. The thing about this game is, at this point, a lot of cars are only available in one place, and it's not always going to be a dealership. Some of them can be found in different industries, and that means that we have to visit other places to figure some stuff out. For example, I always liked my sports retro cars, which is the Fortum, the Xino as it's just driving by, the SM and the Panther. Guess which one of these isn't in the current, or isn't in this version? They are all in here, you just gotta find them. The SM is placed over here at the furniture store. I mean, we've just seen the Xino drive by, it's only available at the junkyard currently for some reason. And for the Panther, you have to drive over to the Architect. Of the new version, you can buy all of those free over here, I think. The Fortum, however, and the same with the Mages and the Vista, only available at Lijo Harbor. So, yeah. They are still in here, but they are a bit harder to find. So let's drive over to the junkyard. I don't think I need to prove that the Xino is in the game. Thanks to just driving by, but I'll also drive over to the Panther and show that it's really in here. And yeah, this is the version for those who have been playing the game for a long time, where we have all the dividers in the middle of the road. I'm thankful that those got removed again. Those have been quite the annoyance. But we also have other vehicles here, like the Duke, that's still available right there. And also quite a few other cars. So I think we should also talk about the things that have come out ever since the release of this version. And by the way, yes, the Formula SCM is also in this one. And it already had the whole race car factory going on at Anston. We might actually visit Anston in a bit, towards the end of the video if I remember. Because it's kinda cool how that one is connected. And yeah, even the Cora is in the game. But there are 9 cars or vehicles that can count as cars in an expanded definition that aren't here. And surprisingly enough, a lot of them are based on really old vehicles, which is also something I want to touch on really quick, because I think there should be a bit more of a spread with the vehicles that get added. There are a few very iconic vehicles that are of course glad that we have. I think there's only really the Savannah that I never really liked, but everything else at least has a place in the game. But I feel like some of those should have maybe come out a bit later in favor of something that's a bit more current. Because when it comes to stuff from the late 90s, early 2000s, 2010s even, we have barely anything in terms of regular cars, and that's kind of a shame. So let's go through the list real quick. And this is in no particular order. I'm starting with the Neo. These guys. Oh god. So, the old flower banks, based with the old glitchy collisions and bouncy suspension bugs, it's just, yeah, glad that we don't have to deal with that anymore. But yeah, while I wait for the wanted level to run out, let's start with the Neo. Early 90s Lancia Delta, iconic. The Daffy, it's a 2CV, meant to be from the 80s, but in the end, in my eyes, 2CV is 2CV. There might have been some slight redesigns, some facelifts, whatever. But overall, the core design of the car still comes from, I think, the 40s or something. The Mickey, which is, I think, a late 80s or early 90s little box car. I mean, not box car, it's a compact car. It's a boxy compact. It's kind of an iconic archetype, so something like that definitely needed to be in the game. The Tuscan, which was initially meant to be a replacement for the Stinger, which is the Camaro lookalike. People didn't like it all that much as a replacement due to it being based on a Chevy Nova. But yeah, that's also from the late 60s if I remember correctly, maybe early 70s. And when we get to the Savannah, VW Safari from the 60s, and actually it looks very much like a Kübelwagen, so there's definitely a lot of design similarities, and that one comes from I think the 30s or 40s, so yeah, that's more like a museum piece. Never liked that it was added to the regular traffic because that's just... If something like that is in the game, it should at least be so rare that we get it as maybe a barn find, but not as a regular traffic car. The Nuke, it's an 80s boxy American sedan. That's going to be another very similar vehicle with the next update. And yeah, when we get to the Pulse, which is one of the few really modern cars, I think it's based on the Honda E or something similar. There used to be like a prototype. I don't know. I don't fully remember if the Honda E was a prototype of a serial car, but yeah, that's really new. It's rear-wheel drive EV compact, like a little city car. When we get the Bongo, which was meant as a replacement for the Townie, so that's the VW T2. I don't fully remember how old that one is, but yeah, for the replacement cars, in the end they were chosen to replace something that was chosen before, so it's not really like they have full, like they have all the options where they gotta do something at least similar. So with those vehicles I get it, with some others maybe not all that much. And the last one is the Dabo, which is of course a modern K-Truck. Not necessarily a car, but it's also kind of a tuning icon, so thought it was worthwhile including here. So yeah, that's a grand total of 9 cars, most of which are really quite old. And once again, I wish we got a bit more variety with ages of the cars and maybe also with what types of cars we are getting. I mean, there have been quite a few compact vehicles in there. And maybe we should get another more modern and... Jesus Christ, almost got killed by the tree there. A more modern station wagon, front-wheel drive, sedan, coupe, minivan, stuff like that. I also wouldn't mind some more retro sports cars. I think those are also pretty fun, and in the end it's really just about getting more variety as a whole. And yeah, I will not say anything that I don't want these cars that we've gotten to be included. That would be a false statement. In the end, I just want that we get a bit more variety with it and not just focus on old cars, and especially not just focus on trucks and that kind of thing, but really give us a good amount of variety. Is my controller giving out? Ah, there we go. I'm just going to teleport over to... I'm still a suspect, so I guess I'm gonna drive. Yeah, I'm gonna go over to the heavy-duty dealership, because at this point in the game, that's where we can find all the trucks and buses even. So, yeah. In the meantime, I think we can also talk maybe a bit about the industries available right here. So let's quickly check everything out on the map. I mean, if you played the current version of the game, nothing here is going to surprise you. I think one of the big omissions is that we don't have the fuel storage facility over here. And of course, supermarkets aren't working, but everything else, I think all the farms and all of that, that's still here. And nothing really changed in regard to that. So if you know the old, or if you know the current industries, that's basically what's in the game at this point. And yeah, we also got quite a few racetracks around the map. We got A-Wall with its 2 layouts. We got the little ranch oval. We got the Olle track and also the little karting thing next to it. We even got Anson, both the Speedway and the Ring. I think at this point, when this update came out, this might have been maybe even where the Ring was added, or at least it wasn't too much earlier than this. Must have been almost brand new at this point, so yeah. OG came out and we still don't have any race tracks on that. To be clear, in comparison to this version, OG came out about maybe half a year after that. So OG has been out for about 1.5 years at this point, and yeah, we still don't have a single race track on that, which is really disappointing in my opinion, especially since when it comes to tarmac tracks, everything that we have here, I mean there's also the harbor track, I almost forgot about that one. Everything that we have in this game for tarmac tracks is completely flat. And while I like to do a few laps around Anson, it's also not really a GP style track, it has mainly very slow corners, so there's definitely a lack of variety here in my opinion. But yeah, I hope that gets changed at some point. I've been very vocal about getting some racetracks added because I think this old game strikes a nice balance with what's available, and I think if we could maybe expand everything a bit more equally, we would be on better footing with the different types of jobs here. But yeah, let's now check out all the trucks. That's it. Okay, let's go into a bit more of a detail here. We of course have the beloved Kira series. We have the slightly larger medium duty and in some case heavy duty asset vehicles over here, which for some reason never got a consistent naming scheme. We got the SRT, which is pre-resizing, so this thing is quite a bit larger than what you may remember, because this thing was just shrunk down at some point. Right now it's even larger than the FL1, which is looking a bit hilarious. But yeah, of course the FL1, the Titan, and the most expensive one at this point is the Cuda. The Cuda also comes with its live fish truck variant. So that's another one that we have, but overall, while we are basically covering all the bases here, it's all a bit bare bones. I mean, 4 different semi-tractors is a decent little set of options. But when we look at all the stuff that we've gotten afterwards, I think this is where it starts really going off the rails a little bit. I mean, to bring home the point about the map, I think it was very important for the game to get more industries, and especially with the map expansion. On this old version, I always felt like it was running into hard limitations on how interesting the game could be, because at some point you've done everything and it would get repetitive. There aren't that many roads here and you will just end up doing the same thing on the same routes over and over and over again. So getting another map, getting another set of industries, especially getting some long distance tracking, highly appreciated. Again, doesn't mean that I wouldn't have liked to also get some other additions and maybe slow down on the industries a bit in favor of other things that may have gotten a bit neglected over the time. But yeah, let's now talk about the vehicle additions in terms of trucking. Keep in mind, for cars, the list that I've just been going through, that's been 9 vehicles. For trucking, ever since this version, we've gotten the Golima Semi, the whole Atlas series, which is currently 7 vehicles. 3 of them are semi-tractors, 4 of them are different other trucks, and 1 of them is still pending. So yeah, there's also an 8th one coming out at some point, which on its own is almost the same amount as cars we've gotten over the past few years. We've gotten the Limousine series, which is 4 vehicles and a whole set of trailers for them. So that's the semi-tractor, the logging truck, the dump truck and the tanker, and also a whole set of trailers for them, so that's another few vehicles. I will show you guys the trailers available in this game at this point here. None of them are in the current version of the game, and none of the ones that we have currently available in terms of semi-trailers are in this version either. They have been completely swapped out and expanded significantly, with the next update bringing out another 9 trailers on top of everything. We are also missing 3 Cudas. So that's the box truck, flatbed and container variant. And also the Lobo and Lobo van, those have also been added later down the line. I haven't counted how many those are in total, and I think when it comes to something like trailers, they are likely much easier to implement than a full-on vehicle with doors and everything. But yeah, I don't think this has been really equal. Once again, I like that we can go a lot more in depth about some stuff here, also with the different jobs available. Like dump trucks don't just transport sand anymore, they also got stuff from the mines, stuff from the quarry and all of that. But yeah, it's really in no comparison to each other. So yeah, that's a lot of different vehicles here. To go through some of the other jobs, I won't get into the police and the taxi too much. I mean, taxi is basically covered by the cars that we've gotten ever since. But yeah, for buses, this is extremely dire. You see all these buses right here. The only thing that's not in this lineup is the Townie, which is available at another dealer or somewhere around the map. And you need to still equip it with a bus license. But yeah, that's one thing missing from this version. And the only 2 things that have been added is first up the Roadmaster and secondly the Bongo. Which isn't necessarily only a bus, but yeah, that's all. In 2 years. I mean, honestly, I don't really need a redundant set of vehicles, and we are really covering the bases here, but I would like something maybe high comfort in low capacity range, maybe around 20 passengers, because we got like this one with, what is it, 28 or so? Doesn't even say. And then this one here, which has like 11. I mean, there have been some changes to the bus system, and those have been amazing. We can now also have some standing passengers in there, so that's all cool. It's not like nothing has happened. But the stuff that has happened here, it's not all that much. And I'm pretty sure that I can already go and... Oh, I don't have... I'm pretty sure that companies are a thing in here. I just don't know how to open the menu. I don't have the button assigned. I need to redo all of that in order to play on this version. So custom bus routes, I'm pretty sure, are a thing in this version of the game. But yeah, not entirely sure how to get into them right now. I mean, I could just buy this bus and also check out how large it is. Okay, mine might have gotten deleted or something, I don't know. Okay, 27, so we have 26 passenger seats. I mean, company menu should be a thing. We definitely didn't have company trucking, but buses, I think, might have been a thing. Maybe if I spawn in one of mine, I can try that real quick. I'm curious right now, I'm sorry. And yeah, while everything here shows the newer stuff, it's just basically only the name, and since the vehicle itself isn't in the game, it's just not gonna do anything if I try to spawn and stuff. So let's see, Dumby 1 shouldn't be in here. Where is my SVG Joe? That might be. Okay, that's underwhelming. That was another buzz. Never mind. Let's now talk about the Weka job. Vehicles currently available in this version are the rollback truck and the Pulio. Vehicles that have been added ever since are the Dory Weka, the Brutus Weka, Brutus also being another series of vehicles that haven't been in this game at this point. The Golima Rotator as well. So those are some significant additions and really make this whole thing quite a bit more in-depth. Also, of course, we got the Lomax trailer, and with the next version we are getting a double-decker car trailer, which is amazing. So those have been expanded quite significantly. And when it comes to other stuff, I mean, there isn't really much of a reason to talk about taxi, but we can talk about one of the sub jobs real quick, which is of course ambulance. Between this version of the game and the current one, ambulance has seen 0 updates. Nothing happened. If I was to publish this video after the next update comes out, that would be a blatant lie, because that job is getting a massive overhaul with more vehicles that you can actually buy, and another different job type and everything, so it turned from a copy-paste job to something quite amazing. But yeah, that's only going to happen with the next version of the game. So, until then, we still have to wait for all of that. Unless you are in city, of course. Oh, Jesus Christ. Gotta be careful here. But yeah, so much about all of that stuff. Again, some of the things have been updated in a really good way. Some of them are still waiting for updates, and overall, I still feel like the cars are one of the biggest losers here, apart from buses. Those have gotten it even rougher. But yeah, my main wish would be to really focus more on that stuff and catch up a little bit. Just to get a really good roster of cars available here. I mean, this is also kind of funny, because when I first started playing, my first playthrough, I don't know how many trucks I got before even buying a car just for fun. It was a lot of trucks and very little cars. I think I got almost everything that was available at that shop there before really thinking about getting like a personal driver or something. So yeah, that's how different this game is to something like a Gran Turismo, where cars are of course the end-all be-all, or even something like GTA. I think in that sense it makes more sense to really compare the game here to GTA or something like that, where you at least have the choice between a large variety of vehicles. But yeah, still doesn't mean that these should be so neglected as they are right now. When it comes to side features, I mean, I've been driving around with a plain white Fortum. This is of course due to the fact that this version doesn't have the decals yet, and it also doesn't have full functionality for the light bars. I think this might be stuck to the headlights right now, and yeah, it's blue. We cannot recolor them, we cannot reposition them, at least not with the entire system that we're used to. If I want to do this, this is what I get. I can try and rotate them, but it's in a really rough way. It's hard to get it right, and that's all. I cannot... Didn't even put it down there. Yeah, I cannot really do much precisely, so... Yeah. So much about that one. So yeah, a lot of good updates have happened in between. Once again, I will never dispute that. So let's now move over to the next thing, which is going to be limo driving. I'm just gonna scroll through all of this until we get to N for Nemo. There it is. We might have a bit of a problem finding passengers here because they are not exactly the same. I also don't know what's with those weird little black spots on the thing there. It's rolling. Stop it. Yeah, no idea what's going on here. Looks like I've torched my roof a little bit or something. But then let's take a look at the map and try to actually find... was there a taxi passenger here a moment ago? Let's try and find a limo passenger. I think that's gonna be marked differently on the map. The thing about taxi driving in this game at this point, there are hotspots, both for destinations as well as where they spawn to be picked up. One hotspot is over here, the other is over here, and for the most part you're just gonna go in between the two, and it's really annoying. That was another thing that didn't really work out too well. So this is a limo passenger. Yeah, I might want to teleport back to the starting point, or let's just take a regular passenger to there and try to not waste too much time here. I know this is gonna be a long one, but I would like it to also be a decent video without just dead space all the time. Comfort and Urgent. Not really going far. Is there another guy near here? I'm gonna try that one. But yeah, the taxi menu, not a thing in this one. Definitely appreciated that one, but yeah, this is a bit more work finding a good passenger here. And once again, with a new update, we are also finally going to get another limo. At this point there are two vehicles in the game that can be turned into a limo. One is the Mammoth and one is this one. And we are going to get another... Jesus Christ, where the hell are you guys going? We are going to get another classic limo with the next update. Even though it seems to be much worse in terms of comfort rating than what we have already. So if you want to do that, if you want to stick with comfort, then this is still going to be your only real option. I tried getting that changed. I feel like after so long, who knows when the Nemo was even introduced, this was already in quite a few versions before this. This vehicle might be 3 years old at this point, for all I know. But yeah, might still be the only good option for limo comfort. Even though honestly, from what I've done with the recent versions, you lose comfort so quickly, it's not great. It's just very frustrating. You cannot really drive like what I'm doing right now. I mean, this is maybe a bit much, but it works out pretty well with the comfort rating still being there, so nothing too crazy. In the current version, I would have never been able to keep my comfort up like this. Anything else on the way? Let's just drive across the island and then get to the next place there. There's a few housing options missing here, but I would really like to have for teleportation purposes. I mean, I couldn't have predicted that we would get a limo passenger from Pyroson of all places. There, here we are. We can also enjoy the old terrain and really see how much worse the entire island used to look. I mean, this is still somewhat of a vibe, but the new version is just so much better. It's not like this island was ever abandoned for the sake of expanding only. There's still been a lot of, especially vegetation updates. I mean, the downtown area got an overhaul. There's going to be a few other things happening here and there, so it's there's stuff happening. And yeah, just looking back at this old version really gives a good impression on just how far we've gotten ever since. What I would hope for when it comes to limo driving is that there should be another job for it as well, which is a bit more involved. Like really being a chauffeur and driving people around to a lot of places. So not just being A to B and when it's over, maybe there being multiple hotspots that you are supposed to go to. Maybe you take a couple to church for a wedding or something like that. Maybe get somebody from an airport, drive them around a bit and things of that nature. As it is right now, it's really just a taxi with different vehicles. And that hasn't changed ever since. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions on the whole matter. I would really be interested, especially from people who haven't experienced this version for themselves. If you wanna try it out, make sure that you back up your game first. It's going to reset your settings, you're going to lose a lot of stuff that you are used to own. Like, I'm definitely going to get back my vehicles, but if I was to play on the current version again, I think my decals would all reset because the game doesn't really know them, and this one doesn't even have anything. Maybe we'll find another guy over here. Taxi. I would really like to get back to Gangyang or something. But just from the little comfort driving that we did already, it was... Oh, besides going to Gangyang Feng Center. I was about to say Satan. But yeah, this is much easier. I gotta be a bit careful. That was maybe a bit close to losing a comfort point. But it's still... It's okay. You gotta be a bit careful. Gotta be not too harsh on the steering inputs and the braking. Especially in combination with each other. But you don't really have that much of a problem. And especially when you drive smoothly, you can go pretty fast. And that's always been the fun part for me. Driving smoothly, driving fast, and then doing a combination between comfort and urgency. Maybe missing out on a few or one or two urgency points. Maybe even losing a comfort in the process, but it was still manageable. And it didn't feel like you were punished out of nothing all the time. So yeah, what can I say? So far, I really like this version of taxi driving. Gotta be careful. I don't want to end up on the flower banks. I also think that one part where they may have gotten things a bit wrong with all the dividers. I mean, Jeju Island has dividers IRL. That's just a thing. But it's also a thing that this ring road should be a 4-lane road. So you would have 2 lanes on your side before running into any of the dividers, and also being able to overtake slower cars, which, especially with this kind of traffic, is kinda necessary. I mean, look how they are crawling through the intersections. I gotta get a way to go past them. I'm not waiting behind them because that can take ages. But yeah, what can I say? I'm not really touching Taxi anymore and going back to this version. So far, this has been much better. I would like to get another Taxi or another limo guy here. Hopefully with Comfort to see if that's any different from Taxi Comfort. I don't see why it would be, but yeah, there doesn't seem to be one here. So I think we'll just switch over to the Taxi now and go from there. So let's get into this old thing. Let's see what that guy is about. I mean, it should be giving me urgency comfort now. Yep, urgent comfort, and this guy is just going to the other hotspot, as to be expected. I'm a bit surprised that I even got to go to some other places here, but for the most part I know that there are going to be a lot of people going back and forth between Gangyang downtown and Hizhou City. I gotta be a bit careful here. Don't wanna run headfirst into another car, but well, also don't wanna be stuck behind those snails there. Careful. Rogue barrier in the middle of the road, that's always nice. Okay, that was a bit too much. But yeah, that felt okay. This is still very lenient. Like if I didn't steer and brake at the same point, that would have been okay. But doing that just really was asking for trouble. So let's just go back across the island. And they're not really all that smooth, but with harsh corners like that, the 90-degree turns, there isn't really much I can do. And I definitely need to focus on braking first and then turning. But yeah, this turn alone is something where I tend to lose comfort on the current version. There doesn't really seem to be much I can do about it apart from slowing way down. And I think really the interesting and fun part is when you combine comfort with urgency. But lately I've just been doing urgency because comfort just sucks and is annoying. And here we go, another kilometer. So yeah, I'm definitely going to not get there in time for full urgency bonus, but that is to be expected. I should maybe be able to get 2 points. Not lose 2 points, I mean. If we're not going to follow the GPS here, we are going to wait for one more intersection here and go in through this one. So yeah, this isn't bad.
Thank you very much.
This is the type of taxi that I used to do a lot back in the day, and doing this again, I mean, there is a clear difference between this and what we have right now. Like, it's very obvious once you try doing the same with the same car in the current version. you're just gonna constantly lose comfort and it's not going to be fun. So yeah, far less punishing, allowing you to drive smoothly but still be fast, and this one right up my alley. The new one, absolutely not. I don't know, I've tried making feedback posts about that or comment in ones from other people.
Thank you very much.
But nothing really ever came from it. And just looking at how this one is going, I feel like, yeah, this definitely confirms my suspicion about this being the more lenient system here. And once again, I have to point out, I don't want to defend the low tire grip on this version overall. It is a lot nicer with the later versions, but in this particular instance, really not to the benefit of the entire system here. So the new one better overall, but this is this niche little exception that really should be addressed at some point. Okay, thankfully that guy got out of the way, so should be alright. Okay, gently braking very early for the turn. So there's a bit of a compromise between being fast and being smooth, but it's doable and pretty fun in my opinion. Another thing to keep in mind, payouts in this version are awful generally. So while I wouldn't necessarily call this a high-paying job, it's far off from what you would like to do and the kind of rate that you would expect in the current version. Yeah, the kind of... It's not that awful compared to everything else that's available right now. There are a few standout jobs like pizza delivery, if you have the premium stuff stocked up, but it isn't awful. At least not comparatively. The whole thing is awful, but a lot of stuff pairs somewhat decent compared to each other. Okay, last one. And am I going to try to make it day again? Or we are just gonna stick it out through the night? It might be a bit too dark on YouTube, so let's see how long it takes to sleep here. Because I want to show you guys Anson, just for how different it is. So we're going to quickly drive over there and have a short look around. It's not going to be too much. And I think also in this version we might already have different location for Anson. It used to be, oh god, it's still very dark. It's going to get bright though in a moment. Let me check for my Fortum. I mean, we could also go with the end for that. That's not a bad idea either. For a moment I thought some of my lights were on crooked, but no, that's just light reflection. But yeah, there are older versions of the game where Anson is, I think, even further away from the main island. So you're really gonna go on a trip when it comes to getting to the place. It's still quite far out here, but I think it's been changed a few times. Or maybe I've just gotten faster at getting there because I remember that being a massive undertaking. But that may have been at a point where I didn't have a fast vehicle yet. I've tried getting getting to that island on this version before making this video, so I already know it's not gonna be too much of a problem. But yeah, first we're gonna get to the highway and then we can get there. The big difference is that in this in this version, the highway doesn't go around Anson Island, it connects right to it. So we're gonna see that in a moment. Time to go fast. Also, and I don't know if that's gonna be a problem with this car in particular, this version was way before any aerodynamic update, before we got the aero parts working. And while there aren't really any aero parts available for this car in particular, I remember all the stuff being a bit more, or a bit less stable here. So once we get to high speed, we might be fishtailing a little bit, because I constantly need to adjust my position and all of that, try to stay in the lane, but in the end it's just gonna be really tough to do so. And I think on the newer version it's just all a bit more stable. Yeah, really tough to make these micro adjustments to stay in lane. But hey, here we are on Anson Island. And we can just drive right through here. There's the workshop, as per usual, so nothing really changed here. But yeah, this is just... it's kind of fun. Just being able to drive through that. I think that also explains why the current version still has 4-lane roads going around there. With how it is right now, 2-lane roads would suffice, because it's really just an offshoot from the main highway with its off-ramps and the trumpet interchange. He just went on the left lane and then tried to squish me. But yeah, I tried this with the Fortin before and it was much more difficult. But I think you can already get a sense that the highway is just way longer than before. Or more longer than the other version. Also helps that this end is interrupted by OG Island, so there's something to see there, while right now we're just really driving through nothingness with Gleejo Island in the background there. But yeah, this is the old version, so what can we say? It's definitely come a long way from back then. I wonder, did I really make my info white, or is this just defaulting to white because I don't have the other thing? But then again, the other cars were yellow, so that was still the correct color. Or more, this is more like a silver white, so yeah, I think that is the underlying color under my full livery. Managed to dodge that guy. I mean, the N4 has always been a beast. And I'm really glad that I took this one onto that trip. But yeah, we are back on Gleejo Island again. And I think that's gonna be pretty much the end of this entire video. I mean, we can quickly check out the old concrete factory. This was really a different job back then. I'm also noticing that the Mixie has this little band going around there, which I don't think is on the current version anymore. Don't know when that changed. But yeah, basically back in the day, this job, Mixie has a capacity of 15. As you can see on the top right. That's still in tons on this version. The Dumpy also has a capacity of 15. And all you needed to do for concrete is get sand. And then you could get more fine sand at any of the different construction sites. So you were really just driving back and forth, bringing sand to the concrete factory with the dumpy, and then coming back with concrete to the other part to get fine sand and all of that. It's just Jesus Christ, you almost rolled me over. I want to quickly check out another little thing here before we leave. And to be clear, I'm not going to make another video on this version. This was fun to check out again, but yeah, I think it's not really a version that I need to play on actively. This is fun for a day as a little retrospective and to also bring some points across. And yeah, especially when it comes to some of my critiques with the game, I think it also might help seeing where I come from with some of the stuff. This is what I wanted to check out, because I knew there was something else here before we put in the supermarket. I didn't remember this being a floating yeah, just a floating construction site. I remember that it was maybe a construction site, maybe even as a combination between this one over here, which is actually functional, and the other one right there. But yeah, I didn't really remember what it actually looked like. But here we are. I mean, okay, it has some foundation where it's not completely floating, it just looks like it. I should write a bug report about this. Hey, please go back to Unreal Engine 4. Fix a few things here. Maybe add a few more vehicles. Let the people who cannot play on UE5 experience the rotator. Thank you very much. Never mind. By the way, when it comes to the police, while we're over here, I mean, this is the only police station available at this point. Later, of course, we've gotten the Legion police station right here. And with the next version, we are going to get basically one police station for every single town district. So there are going to be quite a few more. But yeah, with this one right here, this is the full setup. And apart from switching out this one for the nuke police car and getting the police bike, I don't think anything has changed here. Would have liked to also get a few more additions, because honestly, in my opinion, all of these are not amazing. I love the look of this one, even though it's a way oversized boat, even compared to the one right next to it. I mean, look at how wide this is. But yeah, some of the cars either don't look all that great in my opinion. I mean, nothing against the, what is it, the Charger, the Challenger. But this is a really poor model that's supposed to represent it. But yeah, I think we don't really have good vehicles here. I'm not gonna get into this whole thing anymore. I've talked about this at length, and yeah, of course, the Zyro is already in this game at this point. Only EV for quite a while. But I feel for one reason or another, these are all not ideal. Some of them are just too slow. This one I don't like because I find it ugly. This one is just spongy suspension problems. And that one, other reasons. But yeah, I hope we get maybe a few more police cars in the near future. I mean, if we get more regular cars, maybe a station wagon or something, another sedan, or maybe even something sporty, like a Corvette. That would be a good addition for an endgame police car. But as it is right now, this is, yeah, you know it. And with that, I think I talked about this long enough. We are almost at an hour. Oh my god. I should have maybe split this in two, but too late for that. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this old version. I'm gonna go back likely to CT from this point on until we get the new update, and then we'll see about other stuff. I also still want to make my tuning guide, but that might take a while. Haven't really been feeling too great recently, and also for a lot of time I'm getting issues with neighbors or somebody else in my house doing some renovations and some very loud and frequent drilling. So I can't always record when I want to, and that's kind of been a really restricting factor for recently. But yeah, we'll see when that finally gets resolved and how I'm gonna handle the stuff from that point on. Until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time. Until then, have a good one, and bye bye.